Hello. We have this 2007 Chevy Kodiak chassis that we're working on. It's actually a 07 Jayco Seneca, but it's built on the 2006 Chevy Kodiak. Common for the motorhome companies to have the chassis sitting around for about a year before they actually build them. Problem that we have with this motorhome is we just got it recently, but it has a sagging leaf spring on the right side. So if you look in comparison to the house, you can see that it's leaning to the right. And we'll show the back bumper. You can see that it's quite a bit lower on the right side. I've already done some investigative work and measured the wheel well. So take the tape measure here. We have about 31 inches from the ground to the wheel well on the passenger side. On the driver's side, we have close to 33 inches. So this thing's sagging 2 inches on the right side, just at the wheel well, which gets exaggerated at the top of the vehicle. This is not a high mileage motorhome. This coach only has less than 22,000 miles on it. I'm gonna take some measurements to verify the sag of the leaf spring. Check out the measurement right here. 4 inches between the axle and the frame rail. On the driver's side, what, 4 3/8 or something like that, between the axle and the frame. Before we remove these airbags, the measurements I took before were with the airbags completely emptied of air. So they have 0 PSI in them. Some Goodyear airbags. I think the old owner installed them to add a little extra weight capacity. These things are real heavy duty looking. But you can see they're bolted on the bottom of the U-bolts. The brackets are super heavy duty. Looks like 1/2 inch plate. Okay, so here's the fix for the problem. The factory leaf springs on this motorhome are the 15,000 pound springs. Part number on those was 103-72727. Went to the Chevy dealer and bought these brand new leaf springs. Part number 103-72725. These are the 19,000 pound leaves. The 15,000 pound leaves are discontinued. So this is the way you receive them. You have a GM tag right there, and they're not in a box or anything, so you might end up with something like this. That thing's gonna have to be straightened out. We've got the Roadmaster secondary add-on sway bar for the rear. You're gonna keep your stock sway bar, which is mounted in front of the axle. This is 1 5/8 inch diameter. It mounts behind the axle, so you end up having 2 sway bars in the rear. And we have Koni shocks. These Konis are specific to the 19,000 pound leaf springs. These are these big red hydraulic shocks. Here's the Koni shocks for the front, 8805-1023. And these are gonna be golden color. I've already had them out. Pretty good looking shock. So this can be the suspension upgrades. Safety first. If you're working on a heavy vehicle like this, you need heavy duty jack stands. So these are 10-ton jack stands. The pin type, unlike your typical small jack stand that has the cast iron piece here with notches and the click mechanism. So these are what we're using to hold the motorhome up in the air. They have a really wide base. You can see they're about 17 inches on the base, and these did pretty good on the job. So this video is brought to you by racetuning.com. We sell parts. For example, this can be one of the next videos we do. We're gonna do the Banks Economine tuner on this Chevy Duramax next. This one has the AutoMind gauge display. These add about 100 horsepower, and it's only about 900 bucks. We also sell tuning devices, such as this SCT X4. We have Bully Dog, Super Chips. Here's an old Edge Evolution. Also, if you're towing a Jeep behind the motorhome, you might want to take a look at our winches. If you have a pickup truck, might check out our differential covers. If you are into muscle cars, we have some twin disc clutches from McLeod. These things are rated for 800 horsepower on up. We have offset shifters like this. This is going to a customer who has a 68 Camaro who's installing a 2010 Camaro drivetrain in his car. So he needs an offset shifter to get his shifter stick into the stock original console location. We have these and a lot of other stuff, so it's worth checking us out, racetuning.com. Okay, back to the video. This motorhome already has the aftermarket 1 5/8 inch sway bar upgrade. You can see right here, got a heavy duty bracket that bolts to the leaf springs. This is the end links. So this is gonna be 3 total sway bars on this coach. Like I say, 1 5/8 front, you got this stock 1 3/4 inch rear, and then the secondary 1 5/8 inch rear sway bar. That should take care of any sway that the vehicle has. 3 inches on the old one, 3 1/4 on the 19,000 pound new one. Mud flaps were basically falling off, so I just took them out for ease of filming. Jayco didn't even screw them in to this metal bracket right here. They just put it on this cheap sheet metal, galvanized junk. It's like 5 holes, but you can, these things were all loose, man, and this thing was about ready to fall off like the front one had fallen off. So I just took it off, and then I'm gonna fix that the right way later on. You can see this 1 inch square tubing right there. And I'm gonna drill new holes so it actually goes through the square tubing instead of this junk that, you know, it's gonna fail. So we're getting ready to install the sway bar bracket onto the leaf spring hanger bracket. And we have to take off this bolt and then that bolt. Okay, I'll get time up over there. Alright. Get it up and over this thing. The hydraulic steer advantage, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Shit. Alright. Make sure you're not too close to this. It ain't rocket surgery. There we go. Look at that, it's almost lined up with the bolt hole. Okay, so we have everything going back together. The leaf spring hanger bolts are all in place, they're not tightened yet. The lower sway bar bracket is installed. Everything here is kind of just held in place, loose. I had a real tricky time getting the alignment dowel for the leaf spring to go into the axle because if you noticed earlier I had the floor jack underneath here, which of course had to come out to put all this stuff on. So that was kind of a brain fart. Should have had the jack over there like it is now. So I ended up having to loosen the U-bolts on the other side because the axle was about 1/4 inch rearward from lining up with that dowel pin. And I spent a bunch of extra time that I shouldn't have had to spend until I finally figured that out to loosen the other U-bolts so that I could spin the axle a little bit. So everything's kind of just in place. We're going to come back in. I'm not going to torque this side yet because I might run into the same problem over there. So the leaf spring is seated on the axle now. This sway bar bracket has an alignment dowel just like up on top. And if that dowel isn't seated, this thing isn't gonna go down all the way. You're not gonna get the proper torque on your U-bolts. All your alignment dowels need to be lined up and everything needs to seat into place. To illustrate this job a little better, now we're taking apart the left side. Your alignment dowel for the sway bar bracket is right here, and your axle bracket is actually offset. It has an angle on it. So if you look at it, it can only go one way. First of all, the shape's different, and you'll notice it has this angle on it, which has something to do with the pinion angle. Bitch. Fuck. Oh, pin, yes. Okay. Guide pin will not align. Okay, so there's no way this 3-ton jack will lift the motorhome off the ground, but what it will do is lift the differential up into place to simulate like the motorhome was sitting on the ground. That needs to be done so that the rubber bushings that are inside the leaf springs are not under a bunch of preload, like as if you had the axle sagging down. You want it to be like the motorhome was sitting on the ground, or any vehicle as far as that goes. So you got the rubber bushings inside there. If you had the axle hanging, your hangers would be quite a bit forward. And if you torque the bolts like that, and then you put it on the ground, the rubber bushings are going to be twisted already. The other thing is this, you want to straighten the leaves out. See how the leaves got twisted during installation? They'll straighten right out. You have to have your U-bolts a little bit loose so that can be done. This fell out, so I need to put that back in there too. That'll be pretty easy. All you gotta do is go like that. Okay, we're well on the way to putting the fuel tank back in. But what I wanted to mention is that, you know, when you pull a gas tank, you have hidden fuel lines. In this case, you have hydraulic lines like this for the jacks. You have electrical, it's real easy to screw something up or pinch a line or a hose or a wire or something. So like, for example, right here, when I tighten this, it's going to come up another 1/2 inch. But I'm going to push the lines way up in there and out of the way while I tighten this bolt. And then once it's tight, everything can fall down into place. There we go. Nothing got pinched. So I just got off the phone with a buddy of mine who's a heavy truck mechanic. He told me what they do over at the shop is they'll take a hammer or a pry bar or something and tap the U-bolts. And if they make like a high-pitched sound, like a ring, it's good. Like, those are pretty good. I actually just torqued them to spec with a torque wrench. But this side has not been torqued yet, so listen to this. Thud. If there's a thud, it's too loose. Okay, so I'm getting ready to put the Bilsteins on the rear. This is the hardware that it comes with. Multiply this times 2 because it's going to have the same stuff for the other side. But you see these rubber bushings? This is concaved on one side, has that. This is flat on one side, and that looks identical to that. So, looks to me like the concave part is supposed to go down like this. It's going to seat over the weld. Then these 2 recessed areas, that's going to go through the bracket that's on the truck. And then the flat part right here is where the nut's going to go. So the Konis are installed, and they don't really have a torque specification. You just kind of tighten them. The nut has a nylon lock in it, nylon insert, and you just compress the rubbers a little bit. But if you do it too much, you know, these things are going to squeeze out. Everybody's seen shocks before where those things are squashed like a pancake, but these are done, and they come with this nice little rubber cap. Okay, we're going to install the Roadmaster sway bar now. This thing's pretty nice. It has the blue urethane bushings. It's all grade 8 hardware and stuff. Even comes with a warranty card right here, which I'm just going to throw away because I don't think it's going to break. But yeah, this thing's pretty sweet, man. Looks like a good paint job and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, burning the midnight oil. The finished product, nice new leaf springs and shiny red Konis. Okay, so all the repair work is done on the leaf springs, etc. And I've found out that it didn't completely fix the problem. On the passenger side, we still have a measurement of 31.5 inches. And we're going to go to the driver's side. On the driver's side, we have a measurement of 32.5. So we're not quite there. Better, but not fixed. We're going to have to do another review video where we test drive it. And we're going to have to check out the frame and the front leaf springs, etc. to see what else might be wrong with this coach. Thanks for tuning in.